Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. Today we're checking out food in America compared to the UK. Why is it so different?
Did you know that if you were to buy certain food ingredients at a grocery store in the United Kingdom, in Europe, and in America, same brand, same type of chip, a packaged good, you could buy the exact same brand of food and the ingredient labels will be completely different. I believe this is one of the main reasons why the United States is so sick.
Okay, looks like this is gonna be a bummer.
They sell safer, better products overseas while making inferior versions right here in America, feeding it to Americans.
Well, what the hell?
The evidence that you're about to see runs the gamut, from fast food places to boxed cake mixes to cereals to candies, even oatmeal.
It's gonna make me angry.
Here are 6 products that are completely different overseas than they are in America.
Hit me.
Let's start with the big one, McDonald's French fries.
Oh.
They make their iconic French fries in the UK with a few simple ingredients: potatoes, oil, dextrose, salt. But in the US, completely different label. They're made with natural beef flavor, they're made with sodium, they're made with pyrophosphate, and they are fried in oil laced with anti-foaming agents. That's the main ingredient in silly putty. But why is it ending up in our food? They've somehow figured out to cook their fries without all these extra ingredients overseas, but why not here?
Yeah.
Begs the question. Second one to look at, Quaker Oats. These instant oat packets. Did you know Quaker Oats strawberries and cream has 0 strawberries? In the US, Quaker mimics the look and the taste of real strawberries, and what they use is flavored and colored fruit pieces. They're comprised of dehydrated apples, and then they use artificial strawberry flavoring, citric acid, and artificial dye, red number 40, which would cause concentration issues. Meanwhile, in the UK, Quaker doesn't even attempt to sell that garbage. It doesn't make any products like that. The closest counterpart that they have is a...
Look at the difference in the number of ingredients. This is depressing me. But I hope it's giving you British folks something to be proud of.
Product called Oat So Simple that has real strawberries in it, and it's light years ahead of the popular US version that's made with all those toxic artificial dyes and artificial colorants. Number 3 is Mountain Dew. Now, none of these foods are healthy. I don't advise eating them, and some of you can just say the comment of like, well, I just shouldn't eat them anyway. But I'm just comparing, how are they approved overseas? And here we're allowed to put all this garbage in there. I mean, you pick up a bottle of Mountain Dew in the UK, and you'll find that it gets its bright yellow color simply from beta carotene. That's a natural color derived from carrots and other plants. Meanwhile, Pepsi, who makes Mountain Dew, sells a very different version of Mountain Dew in America.
Wow.
Here in the States, instead of using natural colors to give it that bright popping look, Mountain Dew is artificially colored with a petroleum-based dye called yellow number 5.
Wow. Oh, I've heard of that.
Major problems with reproductive issues and allergens with that.
Yeah. So I'm sure they're doing all of this just because it's cheaper. Because they can. Don't drink Mountain Dew. Oh, I shouldn't say that.
Now, artificial dyes are common in America, but that doesn't make them okay to eat. They've been linked to several health issues, like I just explained, as well as they're known carcinogens, some of them. They're certainly not as safe as beta carotene, but Mountain Dew, that story gets worse. The US version of Mountain Dew also contains brominated vegetable oil, BVO. And that ingredient is banned in Europe.
Wow.
Way back in 2014, Pepsi said, okay, we're going to do the right thing. We're going to remove BVO from all the American drinks, following a real successful petition that was put on. But they still have not removed it.
What exactly is BVO? Brominated vegetable oil is vegetable oil that has bromine added to it. That doesn't help. It is used in small amounts to keep the citrus flavoring from floating to the top in some beverages. Ah, possible effects on the heart. Pretty messed up, y'all. Don't drink BVO, I guess.
They continue to sell the BVO-free version in other countries, and they allow us to stay sick and toxic. Number 4, Heinz ketchup. You know, the kind you're going to find in almost every restaurant.
I love Heinz ketchup.
Heinz ketchup is GMO-free in the United Kingdom. but full of genetically modified organisms and high fructose corn syrup in the United States, along with lab-produced natural flavorings, which not all of them are bad, but from a company like this, they're bad. And it helps create an addiction to the product. Attempting to make a Simply Heinz version ketchup in the United States with natural flavorings and cleaner ingredients, why don't they just make the same one that they use over in the UK as their regular ketchup?
Because they don't want to.
There's no need for all the heavy processing, but they want to get you more addicted to it, so you'll buy more of it. It's a problem.
It's probably cheaper to make.
Number 5, Doritos. Now, both versions of Doritos are horrible, but the American Doritos are covered in artificial dyes. They're all made from petroleum, the red number 40, the blue number 1, the yellow number 5, super toxic. The dyes have been found to be contaminated with carcinogens, such as benzidine. Benzenes can create some really ugly blood cancers if overconsumed.
Oh my God.
In the UK, these dyes require a warning label that they may have adverse effects on the activity and attention in children, let alone other side effects. So no company wants to put that on their product because people won't buy it, so they just don't use the artificial dyes. Instead, they simply use things like...
This is heartbreaking because I love Doritos. I don't let myself eat them very much, but they're so good.
Instead, they simply use things like paprika extract and annatto in order to get the flavoring. The Doritos in the UK are also non-genetically modified, while the American versions are made up of GMO corn, contaminated with glyphosate, that herbicide, weed killer, and then laced with all these chemicals.
This is some very strange stock footage. What are you going to do to that corn?
Finally, number 6, Frosted Flakes. The jingle, the tiger,
they're
the
so
mighty,
good.
mighty tiger. I mean, I ate them
delicious.
as a kid. I get it. There's no nutritional value going on here. But at first glance, the Frosted Flakes in the United States and the UK, they look nearly identical. But there's one big difference. There's a preservative in the US version called BHT. Now, this is important because there's a lot of controversial research linking BHT to cancer. And it's believed to also be an endocrine disruptor, which means it's going to mess with your hormones, men and women. And it's not even permitted in cereals in Europe. So Kellogg's reformulated their cereals so that they can legally sell them overseas. And then following a petition to get the BHT out of it, Kellogg's removed it from several brands like Rice Krispies, but it still uses it several years later in the Frosted Flakes still, despite selling it BHT free in other parts of the world. It makes no sense. Why don't these companies just sell the same safer products everywhere?
That's a good question.
Tell you why.
It's cheaper for them to make? This is so sad. Tell me why.
Why don't these companies just sell the same safer products everywhere? Tell you why. Europe takes a precautionary principle approach towards food additives that are potentially risky. They ban or they add warning labels to these additives for their people. The US takes the opposite approach. It doesn't remove the additives from our food supply until they have been proven to be dangerous. And that can take years and a lot of red tape to get approved. So it literally means you're the lab rat. Americans are the lab rat. And the US government allows food companies to largely police itself, deciding which ingredients they're going to use, which chemicals they're going to use, which additives they're going to use, which ones are safe to add to their own products. That clearly isn't a wise approach, is it?
We're eating
if a company
poison.
can get away with a cheaper ingredient, they're going to do it.
Right.
Given a choice, they're always going to opt for the cheaper flavor enhancer, the cheaper color additive, the cheaper preservative, the cheaper genetically modified organism and ingredient. Even if these cheaper alternatives have negative health impacts, they're going to choose that route for the sake of profit over people. Truth is that no one's watching out for us. No one's going to take better care of you and your family's health than you.
Extremely depressing. My fellow Americans, we gotta stop eating this poison. No wonder we're getting cancer. He named off a lot of really tasty treats. McDonald's French fries, Quaker Oats, that dang old Mountain Dew, Heinz ketchup, Doritos, Frosted Flakes. This is very sad. What are we doing to ourselves? What a bummer. He didn't even touch on the advertising and how manipulative it is, and how they advertise Frosted Flakes during Saturday morning cartoons to kids. So of course kids want this cancer-causing cereal. It would be one thing if there was no other way to make these foods, but as he's saying, in Europe and specifically in England, They have totally different versions that are safer, which makes it seem really evil of them to be feeding us poison. They know it's poison. Pretty messed up. Sorry for bumming everybody out. I'm hoping that this makes British people feel better about their lot. uh, Congratulations, Europeans. You got better food and better health care. I bet there are some Americans out there who are proud that the food is less healthy simply because it's not European. What world are we living in? What is this world? Who am I? Where are we? What are we doing? So strange that we do this to ourselves. Anyway, what a bummer of a video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Later.